Anyway, I have brought the cylinders. Before you start assembling anything, make sure you clean your cylinders in warm soapy water. Have your compressor all cranked up, because once you've rinsed it off, you can you got to take it out there and blow everything out, and then lubricate the metal parts and the steel parts, and this is the jugs. All right, I've washed everything out pretty good. Compressor will probably kick on and get real loud, so make sure you get it blown out real good. I want to make sure I get these cylinders lubricated right now. I don't want any flash rust. You don't either. If you're doing, once you've brought your jugs back in from the machine shop, or if you're doing it yourself and after you've honed them, don't assume that they don't need to be cleaned. They do. Alright, Valvoline motor oil, the 2050 motorcycle blend, not synthetic. If you're breaking in an engine, I mean, in my opinion, from what I've seen in building two-stroke airplane engines, that break-in synthetic has never been advised, so I wouldn't advise it now. This is I'll have to clean these out again anyway after I've gap the rings. Just gotta make sure that, and I'll be cleaning these gasket surfaces off again with some lacquer thinner. Alright, we will not be having a flash rust problem. Alright, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to start assembling my jugs, get them ready so I can install them. Got my guide stopper, or my chain guide, cam chain guide. I got my cam chain guide bolts, cam chain guide nuts, a couple of thin washers on the nuts, the two base O-ring gaskets, blue thread locker, that's going to be for this, It doesn't call for it in the book, but I'm going to use aviation forma gasket for the thread locker on these. You also have to have on these guide bolts, you need to have your copper gasket washers for that as well. Okay, I'm going to get started. Five. A little bit of that on there. Little goes a long way. You're not going to have to zip, zip, zip around and around and around and around. You're just not going to have to do that. If you do, you'll find it squished out everywhere. You can see I put a daub on it. A dab, a daub. We'll call it a daub. It'll okay, those are, see, it even came out. So what we're going to want to do on that is 11 pounds. Those are 12 millimeter bolts, or nuts in this case. 12. So I'm going to go with I couldn't find the exact pressure for it, so I went for the 12 millimeter nut, and that would be 11 foot-pounds. So let me swing this over here. I can get to it. Be able to see it just fine. I've already got my gauge preset up for 11, or my torque wrench, excuse me. There we go. Did you hear it pop? That's what you're looking for in this type of a torque wrench. Alrighty. Got those in. Now, I don't know if you've seen my first video when I did one of these engines before, but I did it. I had mounted this. I'd mounted the guide stopper after I put the jugs on, and that really is not the way to do it. The way to do it is the way I'm doing it now. You install the guide stopper, then we're going to measure. I'll show you how we're going to do that. And then we're going to measure the distances to make sure that we've got it in there correctly. I'm going to use blue on this, and I just use like couple of gallons too many. That's the way I do stuff sometimes. I didn't need that much, that's for sure. Make sure you have your copper gaskets on. Okay? Come on, get in there, baby. Drop in sockets. Okay, I'm just going to finger tight, snug it right now. Snug it finger tight. Alright. Now,
the guy over there said he agreed to give up his poison.
I'll be right back. What's that? Alright. Now everything's snugged down pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is get some measurement. I'm going to. I want to make sure that this guide is centered in the tunnel top and bottom. So I think what I'm going to do here is get my gap. Hey, now that's right on the money right there. Actually, why don't I take it all the way back here and do the measuring? That is not on the money. Okay. Okay, now that's on the money. I'm going to just snug that down just a hair more. These bolts will be snugged at, will be actually finished torqued at 6.5 foot-pounds. 6 or 6.5. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.5. So I've dropped that down to 6.5. I'm not going to go to 6.5 yet. I just want to snug that down a little bit more. And I'm going to flip it over. With any luck, this side is correct. Because once you move one side, then the other side will move, then one side moves, then the other side moves, and move, 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 move. Yep, this is not correct, of course. Truly wasn't expecting it to be correct. This is when if you have two of these, you're in the money. Alright. Works better from this side. This stuff gets in my way.
Particle accelerators at full power get beyond field active
Got my hand in the way, sorry. What I'm finding is I'm having to push it all the way to that side to get it centered. So what I'm going to do is push it full throttle. I'm not going to go to the complete 6 pounds of torque yet. I'll flip it back over, remeasure that side. See how much this side's moved. Okay, if I move it that way, let me see. I was trying to get it to go that way a little. Now that way. This way. So if I push this way, which I think I need to, that'll actually move the top that way. Well, that's about as close as I'm going to get it. So if I put, this is just a hair off center that way, not much. Not even maybe 1/1000th. Well, the machine shop apparently didn't do me no damn favors. Well, let me go back. I'm gonna double check this back here. So what I'm gonna do, let me show you what I'm doing. What I'm gonna do is use the inside of the channel here as my mark and button it up, and then I'm gonna come over here. So yes, even in this end it says it still needs to go that way about 1/1000th, but I have no thousandths to move it that way. That's as close as I'm going to be able to get it with this set of jugs from Mike's. It's 1/1000th of an inch off center. And not a damn thing I can do about it. Well, I guess there could be. I suppose I could ream out the... I need to ponder. Alright, I measured my chain, and the 1/1000th is just not gonna, it's not gonna matter. So we've got that in as very close as it could ever be. I've got let's see. I got my motor oil here. Which is the Valvoline motorcycle oil, not synthetic. I want to make sure that these are lubed up, so that's what I'm going to do now. good and lubed up. And now I need to grab the pistons. I'm going to come back and clean that again. I'll be real careful when I clean this next time, because I'm going to clean all the oil off of the surface. And make sure I don't get any clean the oil. I don't want to clean the oil off of my gasket though. So let me grab the pistons and I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to I got my pistons, got all my, I have my rings clocked. You need to, there's a forward and a backward on the piston, so you make sure that when you install your piston, you install it forward. You can see the difference in the size for the valves. Exhaust valve smaller than the intake valve. Make sure you also get your wrist pin in the inside, because putting that in won't be any fun. Here's that one. It's not really hard to get the wrist pin in. As a matter of fact, you can do it with your hands. Just get a slider on down inside there, start working it, and then it's on in there. Now, the key with the wrist pin or the keeper is make sure that this keeper part is on the top or the bottom, but not on the sides. That way when it's pounding up and down, it can't squeeze. This way, if the gap is on the top or the bottom, it can't squeeze and then pop out somehow. Tip of the day. So anyway, I'm going to lube them up. Actually, since I've got, what I'm going to do, since I have new stuff here, is I'm going to double check, make sure that this is going to work in the old, and them pistons over there. I'm sure they will. And what I'll do is I'll open it up, and I'm going to get some, make sure you don't drop these. I hope I didn't jinx myself. You don't want to drop this stuff. You need to be very careful with your pistons. They're aluminum, hard steel. Don't drop these things. You're going to want, I didn't bring my assembly lube over here. I dropped some gasket stuff in there earlier when I was using the thread locker on, or using it for thread locker. Excuse me. Now, I'm going to lubricate the rings with regular piston oil, but I'm inside the piston here. I'm going to use assembly lube. Oops, sorry, held that up out of your way. Now when I gapped my rings and I kept my pistons and rings for each cylinder. So I did the right for the right cylinder, left for the left cylinder, put them on the same pistons because I didn't want to change any of that. I bought latex gloves for this, but you know what? I just can't stand latex gloves. Makes my hands sweat. I don't know about the rest of you guys. Makes my hands sweat. Let me do a little test here. Oh, ain't that nice. Wipe up the residual. Oh, slid right in there, nice. Okay. We're gonna have plenty of room to get that out of the wrist pin in, so we're gonna be good to go. Nice to know now instead of later, huh? I'd rather know now. And we'll go ahead and just oh yeah, piece of cake, piece of cake. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wash this assembly lube off my fingers, and then I'm gonna lube up the rings with regular motor oil. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna lube up this piston here. At least the rings part. See if it works as well this time as it did. Nope. I already did the first one and that went smooth. So anyway, I'm moving the rings in and out, letting gravity be my friend. Up and down, get some oil in there. Up and down, up and down. Make sure your rings are wet. Alright. Looks like I got a little excess here. Not really like an excess, but I seem to get it. Make sure we got the front to the front. Put that back over here. Trying to keep the oil off of everything. Alright. I'm amazed how quickly everything can move. Let me double check this. Alright. When I lubed my rings, I moved them. So make sure after you lube your rings, you move them back to where they need to be. I think we're good to go now. Front. Not sure if I can do this with you that close. And we're gonna Start with the first one. The key with this is don't force it. Just let it go down easy. Okay, we got the first one in. Come over here. Easy, Eddie. Easy. Well, that jumped right on in there. Okay, once you start getting it past that little, I drop my tool. I drop the popsicle stick. Alrighty, it's almost in there. Come on, baby. Squeeze in for daddy, please. Come on. There we go. Success. You notice when I put my knife in there, I wasn't doing no extra scraping, but it is steel on steel, but I was being super careful. Okay. First one in. Second one's been lubed. Let me double check. My clocking. Alright. You seem to be good. Let me move you out of the way again. You know, I probably should have done this, and I didn't do it a second ago. Should have added more lube. Oh, I got that jug off of that burn oiling. I wanted to clean that up. Should have lubed this on the other side. I mean, it was lubed. You can see in there that it was lubed, but I should have put some fresh lube on it. Got plenty of lube on my hands. Okay, let's make sure we got the front to the front. Front, that way. Popsicle stick. Don't be applying too much pressure down. You saw how it jumped the last time. I went, oh, I just turned my shoulder the wrong way. Ouch. Oh, that bad. Don't wreck your motorcycles, children. Especially when you get my age. Easy, old man, easy. Easy. Come on now. Come on, there we go. Easy. Oh, yeah. Alright. Let's start with see what's going on here. A little bit too crooked for my taste. Okay, there we go. That one went in a little easier than the other one because why? I lubed the cylinder, which I'll be doing from the, again, I'll be pouring a little bit down there, putting some here on the outside of this. Okay, but now you know how. What you gotta do is get you ready with your wrist pins. Gasket, this is the base. I'm going to clean this off with lacquer thinner, and then that'll be ready to drop down on top of the lower case, up top of the upper lower case, and then we'll fit in, I'll put the base gasket on that first, and we'll get ready to install the jugs and pistons onto the engine. That'll be next.